The hungry alien girl. The cafeteria was loud and full, but she sat alone in silence. Her name was Sarah. She was small, thin, and pale blue in color. Her eyes looked tired, her hands shaking slightly as she held an empty food tray. No one sat near her. No one ever did. All around her, students from many alien species laughed and ate together. Some had 4 arms, others had scales, glowing eyes, or wings. They all wore clean uniforms, badges shining. But Sarah's uniform was old, faded, and a size too big. She came from a low-caste planet, the kind most people ignored or insulted. A group of tall alien boys passed her table. One of them made a fake crying sound and said, "Poor hungry girl, maybe she can eat the floor." They all laughed. Sarah looked down, her stomach growling loudly. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. No one offered help. No one cared. The academy rules were strict. Only registered credits could buy food. She had none left. And asking for help was dangerous. Low-caste aliens were seen as beggars, and begging could lead to punishment. Some who broke the rules were sent back to labor camps. Sarah was afraid, but she was more hungry than afraid now. Then something strange happened. A new voice said, "Hey, are you okay?" She looked up slowly, expecting another insult. But this voice was different, soft, and warm. It belonged to a human. His name tag read Eli. He was tall, with dark hair, light brown skin, and kind eyes. He looked at her tray, then at her face. Without waiting, he sat down next to her. Everyone in the cafeteria stopped talking. Eli opened his ration pack and broke it in half. He held out one piece. "Want some?" Sarah stared at him, confused. No one had ever offered her food before. She looked around. The other students were whispering, watching, filming with their devices. She whispered, "You can't share food, it's against the rules." Eli smiled. "Then we'll break the rules together." Her hands shook as she took the piece. She brought it close to her mouth, paused, and then took a small bite. Tears formed in her eyes, not just from hunger, but from shock. Someone cared. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "Because you look hungry," Eli said simply. Sarah ate slowly, carefully, like it was her first real meal in years. Maybe it was. Across the room, the tall alien boys stared in disbelief. One of them stood and shouted, "Hey human, you want to feed trash now?" Eli looked up calmly. "She's not trash." He didn't shout, but his voice was strong. "She's a student, just like you." Security bots rolled into the room, red lights flashing. The cafeteria manager called out, "Human student Eli, step away from the girl. You violated protocol." Eli stood up and raised his hands. "I just gave her food." "Protocol doesn't allow food sharing with unregistered members," the bot replied. "You will be reported." Sarah stood too, her voice trembling. "It wasn't his fault. Eli gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's okay. I'm not scared." The manager stared at Sarah, then at Eli, then turned away. "Get back to your seats. All of you," he barked. The bots followed Eli out of the cafeteria. Sarah sat back down, still holding the rest of the ration bar. The cafeteria slowly returned to noise. But something had changed. For the first time, someone had seen her, not as a problem, not as a burden, but as a person. That night, a short video of the event spread across the Academy's internal network. The caption read, "Human gives food to untouchable. Who does he think he is?" The reactions were mixed. Some laughed, some were angry, but some, just a few, felt something else, shame and curiosity. Who was this girl? Why was she starving? And why did a human care when no one else ever did? Sarah sat in her room that night, holding the wrapper of the food Eli had shared. It was the first time she had smiled in months. And deep inside her, something began to grow. Not just hunger, but hope. The rule breaker. Eli stood alone in a cold white room. The walls were smooth like ice, the lights too bright. There was no chair, no window, no sound except the slow hum of electricity. He waited, hands behind his back. Then the door opened with a soft hiss. 3 tall aliens entered, wearing black robes with gold symbols. They were members of the Academy Council. One had glowing eyes, another had skin like stone. The tallest one spoke, "Human student Eli, you are here for questioning." Eli nodded, calm but alert. He didn't trust them. He had seen their kind before. Powerful, rich, full of rules they never followed themselves. You broke Protocol 17C, the alien said. You shared food with a non-registered, low-caste species. I gave her half a bar, Eli replied. She was starving. The rules exist for a reason, the counselor said coldly. Eli crossed his arms. Maybe the rules are wrong. The alien stared at him in silence. No human has ever interfered with caste law, another counselor said. Eli shrugged. No human ever saw someone that hungry and looked away. The tallest counselor leaned forward, voice sharp. You think kindness is justice, but kindness is chaos. You gave her power, and power spreads. Eli didn't flinch. She's just a girl, he said. No, the alien whispered. She's a spark. Outside, the academy halls buzzed with rumors. Everyone had seen the video by now. Some laughed, some posted cruel memes. But others were quiet, thinking. Sarah walked quickly down the hall, head low. She didn't want attention, but she felt it. Eyes watching, whispers behind every door. Is that her? The girl who made the human break rules. She should be expelled. She reached her dorm room and closed the door fast. Her hands were shaking again. She didn't feel powerful. She felt scared. But she also felt seen for the first time. Then a soft knock came at her door. Sarah jumped, heart racing. Another knock, and a voice, low and hurried. It's me, Eli. She opened the door just a little. Eli looked tired but smiled. I'm not in prison yet. She let him in, locking the door behind. Why did you do it? She asked, voice small. You didn't have to. Eli sat on the floor, stretching his legs. I don't like bullies, he said, and I don't like systems that protect them. She sat too, knees pulled to her chest. They'll send you back to Earth, she said. Maybe, he said, but I'd rather leave doing the right thing than stay doing nothing. There was a long silence. Sarah looked at him, unsure. Then she said something she had never said to anyone at the academy. I wasn't supposed to be here. Eli turned his head. What do you mean? My name was drawn by mistake, she whispered. My people. We're workers. We fix machines, dig tunnels, carry boxes. We don't study stars. But I answered the test anyway. I passed. Eli's eyes softened. Then you deserve to be here more than most. Sarah gave a sad smile. Deserve doesn't matter in a broken system. Just then, something hit the door, hard. They both jumped. Another loud thud, then laughter from outside. Eli opened the door and found a bag of garbage dumped on the floor. Rotten food, old metal, sticky wrappers. A message written in alien symbols, glowing faint red. He didn't need translation. It was a warning. Sarah looked down, ashamed. Eli picked up the garbage slowly, silently. Then he looked back at her. They're scared, he said. Not of me, but of you. Why? She asked. Because you make people uncomfortable, he said. You remind them of everything they try to ignore. Poverty, injustice, cruelty. You're not the problem, Sarah. You're the truth. That night, Eli opened a private message on his device. It was from an unknown sender with no name. It said only one sentence. Stop feeding the shadows, or be swallowed by them. Eli stared at the words for a long time. Then he deleted the message and started recording a new one. Log. Human student Eli, day 19. I think I've started something. I don't know what's coming, but I'm not backing down. The alien passed. The academy slept, but Sarah couldn't. Her room was dark, cold, and quiet. But inside her mind, a storm was waking up. She stood by the window, staring at the stars. So many stars, so much space, and still, nowhere to belong. Her fingers touched the glass as if reaching for something far away. Or someone. Behind her, Eli sat on the floor, looking at a glowing screen. He was uploading something to his private human network. A short clip, nothing fancy, just Sarah's hands shaking as she held that piece of food. No sound, no face, just that moment. He called it, the hunger they don't see. Done, he said quietly. Sarah didn't turn around. You're going to get in trouble, she said. I already am, he smiled. Might as well make it count. Silence hung in the room. Then Sarah whispered, do you want to know why they hate me? Eli looked up. Yes. She sat beside him on the cold floor, legs crossed, eyes far away. My people weren't always like this, she said. A long time ago, before your kind reached the stars, we ruled 3 planets. We were warriors, engineers, creators. But we made a mistake. Eli didn't speak, just listened. Sarah's voice became hollow, like she was reading a memory too heavy to carry. We trusted an alliance, she said. They promised protection, peace, trade. But they wanted our secrets, our tech, our minds. When we refused to share, they started a war. She closed her eyes. We lost. They didn't destroy us. That would have been too merciful. They reclassified us as a service race, made it law that we could only work, not lead. They removed our language from schoolbooks, banned our stories, destroyed our symbols. Eli's hands clenched into fists. Sarah opened her eyes again. I was born in a mining camp, she said. My mother was a cleaner, my father, gone before I could speak. I learned numbers from counting broken tools. I learned letters from graffiti in the toilets. Eli couldn't speak. The silence between them said everything. One day, she said, a test was given to every child in the camps. Some say it was an accident, some say it was a joke. But I took it, and passed. They didn't know what to do with me, she smiled bitterly. So they sent me here, to hide me in plain sight, maybe. No one expected me to survive. And they were almost right. Eli looked at her like she was made of fire and glass. Fragile, but still burning. You survived, he said. Sarah looked at him. You helped me. Then a soft beep came from Eli's screen. He checked it. People saw the clip, he said. It's spreading. Humans are asking questions. About me? Sarah asked, scared. No, Eli said. About them. He opened another message, this time with an attachment. It was an old news article from a forgotten human archive. Title: The Forgotten War, When the Stars Went Silent. It had one image, an ancient battle between Sarah's species and the Council's forces. Her eyes widened. This was buried, she whispered. Not anymore, Eli said. I think it's time they remember who you are. But just then, the lights in the room flickered. Then everything went black. Eli grabbed a small flashlight and turned it on. They both stood up, alert. What's happening? Sarah whispered. A voice came through the intercom, cold and sharp. This is security control. All students remain in your rooms. System reset in progress. Eli narrowed his eyes. They're wiping the network. They know what we uploaded. Sarah's heart pounded. Then it's too late, she said. They'll come for us. Eli looked at her. Then we go first. He grabbed his device, a small toolkit, and his jacket. Sarah picked up her datapad and slipped on her shoes. They opened the panel under her desk, a forgotten service tunnel for cleaning drones. Small, dirty, and dangerous. Perfect. Before they entered, Sarah looked back at her room. It was never home, but it was hers. She whispered one last thing. My name is Sarah Kareth, daughter of the last engineer of my people. I remember now. Then she crawled into the tunnel, and the darkness swallowed them both. The first rebellion. The tunnels were narrow, dark, and smelled of oil and damp metal. Sarah's small hands brushed the walls as she crawled forward. Eli followed close behind, his flashlight casting long shadows. Every sound echoed. Every drip of water seemed like footsteps. You've been here before, Eli said quietly. Sarah shook her head. No, only once as a child. Her voice trembled. I didn't come this far, not without help. Ahead, faint lights flickered. A small group of low-caste aliens waited, hiding in the shadows. Some had glowing eyes, some had missing limbs. All looked exhausted, hungry, afraid. But when Sarah appeared, they straightened. Some even smiled, though their smiles were weak. One of them, a tall alien with 3 arms, stepped forward. You're the girl from the cafeteria? He asked. Sarah nodded. I am. He glanced at Eli. And the human? Eli, he said. Yes, I am. The alien looked back at his small group, whispering. They've been punishing us for years, he said. For nothing. They think hiding in the tunnels keeps us safe. But now, maybe we can fight back. Sarah swallowed, fear rising like a storm. Fight? She whispered. I don't have weapons, I don't know how to fight. The alien shook his head. Not weapons, hope, he said. Your courage is stronger than any gun. Eli nodded. We start small, he said. First food. He handed out a few rations, careful not to waste. The aliens accepted them with trembling hands. The first smiles came in months, maybe years. Then a soft beep sounded from Eli's device. A message flashed. They know about the tunnels. Security drones incoming. Everyone froze. Sarah looked at the group. We have to move, she said. They scrambled, crawling through narrow passages, the walls pressing in. Some of the older aliens whispered, "We've never seen anyone lead like this before." Sarah clenched her fists. "Then we will be seen," she said. "This time, we won't hide." Hours passed. The group moved silently. Finally, they reached a large chamber, hidden under old machinery. Here, they could breathe, stretch, and plan. Eli projected a hologram onto the wall, showing the academy's main floors, the cafeteria, and the security hubs. "Look," he said, "we can't stop everything yet, but we can start." Sarah's eyes widened as she looked at the plan. This is bigger than I imagined," she whispered. Eli smiled faintly. "It only has to be bigger than fear." That night, Sarah spoke for the first time to the gathered group. Her voice was small, but steady. "They mocked us, ignored us, starved us, and hid us," she said. "But we are not invisible anymore. Tomorrow, we will show them we exist." Some aliens gasped, others nodded. A few tears fell. One whispered, "I thought courage was dead here." Sarah shook her head. "It was sleeping," she said. "Now it's awake." Suddenly, a loud crash shook the chamber. Security drones had found a small entrance. They began scanning the tunnels, searching for heat signatures. Everyone froze, hearts pounding. Eli grabbed Sarah's hand. "Follow me," he whispered. They ran deeper into the tunnels, the group close behind. Some of the younger aliens stumbled, fear overtaking them. Sarah stopped, turned back, and extended her hands. "Don't be afraid," she said. "We are together now." They emerged in a hidden observation deck above the cafeteria. Below, the students laughed and ate, unaware of the rebels above. Eli looked at Sarah. "This is it," he said. "This is where we make them see." Sarah stepped forward, raising her voice as much as she dared. "Look at us," she shouted. Her voice echoed through the chamber, amplified by old speakers. "Look at us and know we are alive. We are strong, and we will not hide." A few cameras in the cafeteria caught the sound. Some humans turned, surprised. Some alien students whispered, confused. But a spark had been lit. And sparks, once lit, spread quickly. That night, before they retreated to the tunnels, Eli said quietly, "You did something today, Sarah. You made them notice, and they will remember." Sarah smiled, exhausted but alive. "For the first time, I feel like I belong," she said. "Not to them, but to my people." The tunnels fell silent, but the air was alive with possibility. The first rebellion had begun, and no one would ever ignore them again. The crackdown. The alarm blared suddenly, cutting through the tunnels like a scream. Red lights flashed along the walls, painting every corner in urgency. Eli and Sarah froze, their hearts hammering. The hidden chamber that had been their safe haven trembled with the sound of approaching boots. "They know," Eli whispered, voice tight. They found the tunnels. The aliens in the group scattered, some diving into smaller passages, some holding their breath, hoping to disappear. Sarah grabbed Eli's hand. "Where do we go?" He shook his head. "Keep moving." Above them, the Academy's security drones crawled into the tunnels, their metallic legs clicking on the floor. Red scanning beams cut through darkness, searching for heat signatures. Every alien froze as the beams passed over them. One misstep, and it would be over. Eli whispered instructions. "Follow me, stay low, don't make a sound." Sarah's small feet slipped on wet metal as she crawled. A younger alien behind them stumbled. The drone's light swung dangerously close. Sarah reached back, grabbing the child's hand, pulling them into the shadows. "You're okay," she whispered. "We're okay." They reached an old maintenance shaft, the metal ladder rusty but climbable. Eli helped the youngest ones first, then Sarah, then himself. They emerged into an abandoned observation room, overlooking the Academy's cafeteria. Below, life continued as normal, oblivious to the rebellion just above. But safety was fleeting. A loud metallic crash sounded behind them. A drone had broken into the chamber, searching. Eli grabbed a heavy panel and slammed it down over the entrance, buying them precious seconds. Sarah's heart raced, sweat running down her face. "I can't believe they're coming," she said, voice shaking. "We've done nothing to hurt anyone." "They're afraid of hope," Eli replied, voice low but steady. "They fear that a spark in the wrong hands can start a fire." Hours passed as they hid. Eli hacked into the station's old emergency network, routing cameras away from their tunnels. Not perfect, he muttered, but it buys us time. Sarah watched him work, all mixing with fear. How do you stay calm? She asked. I don't, he said simply. I just focus on the next step. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the chamber, cold and metallic. Leave the tunnels and surrender, or face termination. The council's enforcer drones were communicating now. They weren't just looking, they were threatening. Sarah felt her chest tighten. Eli grabbed her hand. Stay with me. A plan formed in Sarah's mind. Something daring, something no one would expect. We need to get proof, she said. Proof that they're hurting the low caste. Eli nodded, understanding immediately. They'll try to silence us, but if the galaxy sees, they can't. They split the group, some taking secondary tunnels, some remaining to distract drones. Sarah and Eli crawled through the narrow service passages, arriving at the cafeteria's lower maintenance doors. The hall above buzzed with alien students eating, oblivious to the chaos around them. Eli opened a small surveillance drone, attaching it to the ceiling. Sarah held her breath as it hovered, recording everything below. A cafeteria supervisor entered, frowning at the drone. Sarah whispered, Now, capture everything. Eli nodded, activating the drone's mic. You can't hide the truth forever, he muttered. Sarah's eyes burned with determination. No, she said, and we won't stop. But the council was relentless. Metallic legs scraped against walls, voices echoed in the tunnels. Find them. Do not fail. Sarah felt fear clawing at her chest. But then she looked at the other aliens, small, scared, but alive. And she felt something else. Courage. She turned to Eli. We fight smart, not blind. He nodded. Together. The drones descended, red lights sweeping. Sarah and Eli ducked behind a maintenance cart, breathing heavily. A loud beep sounded from the surveillance drone above, signaling recording complete. Eli grabbed it, tucking it under his jacket. Sarah glanced at the tunnels behind them, the safe paths, and forward toward the surface. We go now, she whispered. They ran, twisting through pipes, ducking under beams, sliding down shafts. The council's enforcers were close, but Eli had mapped every route. They burst into a hidden docking bay, abandoned ships lined up in the shadows. Sarah looked around. We can escape. Eli smiled faintly. Not just escape. We can fight back. For the first time, Sarah felt a surge of hope stronger than fear. The tunnels behind them echoed with the council's frustration. But above, the galaxy was watching. And soon, everyone would know. The first strike of the rebellion had survived. But the war was just beginning. The uprising. The academy woke to chaos. Alarm sirens screamed, red lights flashing across every hallway. Students ran, teachers shouted orders, and security drones clattered over polished floors. But in the shadows, something new had formed. Sarah stood on a metal catwalk overlooking the central cafeteria. Below, humans and low-caste aliens moved together, quietly, purposefully. Their numbers were small, but their eyes burned with determination. Sarah's heart pounded, but she stood tall, voice steady. Listen, she shouted, her voice amplified by an old speaker system. No one will starve. No one will hide. No one will be ignored. The cafeteria fell silent. Students froze mid-bite, staring, confused, some fearful. Then whispers began, spreading like fire. They are fighting back. Who is that? Sarah raised her arms. I am Sarah Kareth, and you know me now. Not as a shadow, not as a ghost, but as a person, just like you. Above the crowd, Eli moved silently, coordinating drones and relays. Messages flashed across hidden monitors. Join us, share food, stand together. A few human students emerged from dorms, carrying crates of rations. They handed food to low-caste aliens, distributing hope. The cafeteria erupted, not in laughter, but in energy, buzzing with tension and curiosity. The Academy Council panicked. Their leader, a tall alien with eyes like molten gold, stormed into the hall. You dare defy orders? He shouted. Sarah stepped forward, hands raised, not in fear, but in command. We don't need your permission to survive, she said, voice unwavering. Your rules cannot stop truth or hunger. The council called security drones to attack. Metallic legs clanged against floors, red scanning beams swept. Students ducked, but Sarah shouted, Stand together. Don't be afraid. Humans and aliens formed lines, protecting the younger ones, holding improvised shields, crates, anything they could find. A young alien with 4 arms flung a tray, knocking a drone off balance. Eli threw a smoke device, filling the room with white haze. The drone's sensors scrambled, giving the rebels cover. Sarah ran down the catwalk, moving toward the center. Every step felt heavy, but her courage was heavier. She reached the council leader, standing his ground. "You underestimate us," she said, eyes blazing. "Not because we are strong, but because we are together." The leader's eyes flickered with rage, but something else, uncertainty, appeared. He had never faced defiance on this scale. Never from those he thought weak, unseen, unworthy. Sarah lifted her head, voice loud, carrying across the hall. "Your fear cannot bind us. Your cruelty cannot hide us. We are alive. We are strong. And we will be heard." Below, students cheered, some cautiously at first, then with growing confidence. The energy was unstoppable. Even the humans in uniform who had been observing began to act. They joined the line, protecting low-caste aliens, handing out rations, using their presence to deter the council's enforcers. Then something unexpected happened. A hidden camera, forgotten in a corner, began broadcasting live to human networks. News feeds lit up across stations. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time, the oppressed students felt power. Not from weapons, not from rules, but from truth. The council leader roared, "Stop them now." But even the enforcers hesitated, seeing the students' courage, seeing humans standing with aliens, seeing the unity they had tried so long to destroy. Sarah stepped closer to the leader, calm and composed. "You cannot control us," she said simply. "Not anymore." The sound of clashing metal, shouted commands, and human devices filled the hall. Chaos became order in a strange way. The oppressed were no longer silent. They had risen, and every eye, every camera, every observer could see it. Sarah turned to Eli, voice barely above the noise. "They're not stopping us," she said. "No," he replied, "and they can't." With a final, sharp cry, Sarah lifted her hands high, a symbol of defiance, of hope, of rebellion. "Today," she shouted, "we begin to change the stars." The hall erupted in a mix of cheers, shouts, and tears. Even some of the elite students looked uncertain, unsure how to react. The council retreated, drones withdrawing, the leader's anger clear. But the victory belonged to the students. Humans and aliens together, side by side. The first true rebellion of the academy had begun, and the galaxy had watched it live. Sarah looked at Eli, breathing heavily, sweat and tears mixing. "You did this," he said. "No," she replied, voice firm. "We did this." In the shadows of the cafeteria, the oppressed and the unseen were finally seen. And they would not go back into hiding. Not ever. The uprising was just the beginning. And somewhere deep in the council chambers, eyes glowed with worry. Because for the first time, the humans had reminded everyone of one simple truth. Courage, hope, and unity, those things could not be controlled. And the galaxy had learned the oppressed could rise. The meal that changed everything. The cafeteria was silent. A tense quiet, heavy and strange. Red lights flickered from damaged drones, smoke drifting from the walls. Students and aliens alike froze, staring at the figures in the center. Sarah stood tall, blood and dust on her uniform. Eli beside her, breathing hard, a small gash on his shoulder. The council's enforcers advanced, weapons raised. But something had changed. This was no longer just a hallway or a room. This was a battleground of hope, courage, and truth. "Stop now," the council leader roared, eyes burning with fury. "You are endangering the academy, the alliance, and yourselves." Sarah stepped forward, raising her hands. "No," she said, voice echoing through the hall. "We are endangering nothing. We are alive. We are free. And we will not be silenced." The leader snarled, and his enforcers stepped forward, metallic legs clanking. Red scanning beams cutting through the smoke. Eli moved to shield Sarah, holding his hand up to deflect one beam. A drone whirred close, and a bright flash erupted from its sensors. Eli was thrown back, hitting the floor hard. Sarah's eyes widened, panic rising. "Eli!" she screamed, running to him. He groaned, holding his side, but smiled faintly. "Go, don't stop," he whispered. Her stomach tightened, fear and fury mixing. But something inside her stirred, something she had felt only once in stories, only in whispers of her people. Her hands glowed, a faint blue light spreading over her skin. The ground beneath her trembled. Energy surged, invisible yet heavy. Her eyes blazed bright, glowing like twin stars. The council and enforcers stumbled back, shields raised, alarms blaring. Sarah felt the power of her ancestors, sealed away for generations. And it flowed through her now, awakened by courage, by injustice, by hunger, by hope. She touched the table in front of her, and the metal bent without breaking. She raised her hands again, and the drones faltered, spinning out of control. Sparks flew from their joints, and their red lights dimmed. The students gasped, humans and aliens alike. Sarah turned slowly, eyes sweeping the room. "I am Sarah Kareth," she said, voice steady. "The last of my line. And no one will ever starve in silence while I live." Below, Eli groaned, trying to rise. Sarah knelt beside him, touching his shoulder gently. "Stay with me," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "I did my part." "You saved me," she said, tears in her eyes. "No," he said softly. "We saved everyone. Together." Above, cameras and drones recorded everything. Live feeds spread across human networks, alien networks, and hidden channels. The galaxy watched in awe. The story of the starving alien girl, the human who defied the council, and the uprising of the oppressed spread like wildfire. Views, shares, messages of support flooded in. Everyone who had ever ignored, mocked, or hidden from the truth now saw it. The council leader stepped back, eyes wide, fury and fear mingling. He tried to speak, but no words came. Sarah held her hands high, energy glowing, not threatening, but protective. Her presence alone forced a halt to the attack. The enforcers hesitated, unsure, powerless. Even the students who had feared her before now stood tall, inspired. Some whispered, "She's royalty." "Not just royalty, she is our hope," another said. Eli managed to sit up, wincing. He pulled out a small piece of the rations he had saved for her. He offered it, shaking. "Eat, you deserve it." Sarah smiled, eyes softening, and took it. They shared the meal together, in the middle of the chaos. A simple act, but more powerful than any weapon. The cafeteria, the students, the entire academy seemed to pause, watching the human and the alien share their meal. Unity in its purest form. The council finally retreated. They could not fight hope, courage, and truth together, and they knew it. Sarah helped Eli to his feet, leaning on him, smiling through sweat and grime. "You were right," she whispered. "Kindness can change everything." News feeds exploded across the galaxy. Headlines read, "The starving alien girl who defied the academy." "Human student shares meal, sparks uprising." "Unity wins. Hope survives in the stars." For the first time, Sarah felt truly seen. Not as a shadow, not as someone to be ignored, but as herself. Strong, brave, and alive. Humans and aliens in the cafeteria began sharing meals openly. Laughter returned, hesitant at first, then full. Old rivalries faded, replaced with curiosity and friendship. The young alien who had first whispered hope in the tunnels hugged her tightly. "Thank you," he said. "No," Sarah replied, smiling. "Thank you for believing." Eli, sitting beside her, smiled faintly, bruised but proud. "We did it," he said. "Yes," she whispered, looking at the students, at the humans, at the galaxy watching them. "We changed everything." And for the first time in her life, Sarah ate without fear. The meal that began in hunger ended in triumph. The academy, the galaxy, and everyone who had doubted her would never forget it. Because sometimes, one small act of kindness can start a revolution. And sometimes, one brave soul can change the stars.